Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee with the Pastors here in March. We're so glad to be with you. Want to grab your coffee mug or beverage, and here we are to give an opportunity to just have some conversation about things that are happening at Trinity. So glad to be with you in the middle of March, when I think we are just all tired of this teasing, shall we say, of are we in winter? Are we in spring? Are we in summer? It's spring break week for our kids at school. So lots of feelings about, we need a break from this and we're ready to move on. So I don't know if you feel that over at your house there, but even though I'm not in the rhythms of school, I'm kind of feeling that itch for a break.
Yeah, it often feels like this is the week that the weather starts to shift a little bit. You know, we were talking about this the other day, and I think it is for the school year. It's always a really nice break for the kids, for educators, for everybody. You know, and being in a community that takes a spring break is kind of cool. I know it doesn't affect everybody. I mean, there's some people it's just another week, but for those that are, you know, it all connected to NIAC or the school system, it is this kind of thing we look forward to. It's also, you know, the week that this year the NCAA basketball tournament tips off. So a lot of sports fans, it's the beginning of one of the best few weeks of the year. And I know that's not everybody's thing, but I know at our house it's always a big thing. We put big brackets up on the wall and fill it out, and this year we're doing both the men's and the women's, because we're Iowa fans, and they have both a men's and a women's team this year that should be really good. So yeah, it's a lot of fun stuff going on in March.
Yeah, there is, you know, and I remember, you know, well, my nephew played basketball both in Pella and, you know, so our spring breaks kind of revolved around what Pella was doing. And then he played for Creighton and was in the NCAA playoffs one year around spring break. And so, yeah, it was kind of all of those sometimes kind of all jive together. And sometimes, like you say, you get away and you can go someplace, or sometimes it's just staying home and having a week. When I had kids, it was like, do we go away? Or, oh my goodness, what are we going to do for childcare? You know? So yeah, it's a time to juggle lots of different things, but it's also an exciting time too, as well. So it was making me think about rhythms in life. And as we are moving into this season of Lent, and we've been talking about reconnecting with an unhurried God, and the hurry as well as the tempo and all of that, it's like, okay, yeah, this is where we are at seasonally in nature. This is where we are at in the church year. This is where we're at as people in some ways. So yeah, but do you want to talk to us more about Lent? Share with the people all the things we have going on.
Yeah, well, like you said, I mean, our theme for the weekends, reconnecting with an unhurried God, and so we'll be following that thematically on the weekends in worship, and we have a host of other things that are connected to that theme, some individual kind of opportunities to grow and to learn. Becky Ellsburn, our parish nurse, helped put together this cool little bingo card that went out with the Lent letter, and it's been sent out in some other places too, that kind of gives you a chance to do some individual things to refocus in Lent. And we've got a Zoom small group opportunity happening, and I think it is a really good theme for right now in so many ways, this idea of reconnecting not just with God, but with God's faith community. You know, we continue to see people coming back each weekend that we haven't seen for a while, even now, which is really, really exciting. And as the pandemic seems to be waning, to have a chance to really have a community where everybody's together again is really exciting for that possibility. So we're talking a lot as a church about how do we intentionally invite people back, because one of the realities of The disruption is that some people have taken a step away and just kind of lost connection. So reconnecting means something entirely different there. But then in the midweek services in Lent, the Wednesdays in Lent, we're actually doing something kind of apart from that theme, and just very simply with those midweek Wednesday services, looking at Jesus' journey to the cross, specifically through the Gospel of John, and just seeing in John's Gospel, what is it that leads Jesus to the cross? What puts him there ultimately? Beyond the theological idea that we always talk about, which is the redemption of creation and the forgiveness of our sins, our life and salvation, but beyond that, kind of in terms of what was happening in Jesus' time, what put him on the cross. So we're watching clips from a movie that was made in 2003 on the Gospel of John, and doing some really brief reflections on those. It's just a way of walking through that story as we head towards Holy Week. So those are really cool services, a little bit shorter than Sunday morning, more like in the 30 to 40 minute range, which is really nice too for midweek, and doing that at 1:30 and 6:30 on Wednesdays. So the only thing with those is that we're not live streaming those. So we are encouraging folks who want to be a part of those services, they're going to come and do that in person. So that's kind of the weeks here leading up to Holy Week. And then on Holy Week, we have Monday, Thursday, we have an evening service that will be our cantata, featuring our choir, the Trinity choir, and bell choirs will be featured in that. And it's actually a cantata that Dr. Matt Gender's writing, which is really exciting. So that'll be 6:30 on Monday, Thursday, and then Good Friday will be a Tenebrae service. And Tenebrae is a service of kind of light and dark. It's uses candles and readings to set really a neat mood, thinking about what it means that Jesus died for us on the cross and the implications that has for our lives and for our world. Really timely in a lot of ways right now, I think, to have that kind of chance to be able to reflect on Jesus' suffering and the redemption of that. And then Saturday, the day before Easter, doing something just a little bit different, in some ways not that different, but in some ways a little bit different. The Saturday service before Easter, or kind of the beginning of Easter, we've kind of treated that way, has been a youth service for a number of years. And this year, we're going to make it a fully contemporary Easter service. The youth are also going to be involved in helping lead that, but the music will be contemporary worship music, which just kind of fits. And so looking forward to that, 5 o'clock on that Saturday before Easter. And then finally, Easter morning will be traditional brass, at least at 9:30 for sure. I think there'll be special music at the other services, but we'll go 8:15, 9:30, 10:45 for Easter Sunday. Traditional festival services like we're all used to, and it'll be really special this year after the last couple of years of not really being able to celebrate the way that we want to. So that'll be great.
Yeah, I think it's a great lineup of all sorts of Lent activities as well as Easter. And we've talked for a number of years about how to have contemporary Easter as well as all of the festival services. So I think this Saturday night, is going to be a great option, not only for the youth, but for those that really enjoy our 10:45 service normally, to be able to come on a Saturday night. And then, lots of different options for people on Sunday morning to celebrate. But and it is, like you said, a beautiful opportunity, as well as just exciting to see people coming back and reconnecting in worship. I mean, even Ash Wednesday, we saw folks that we haven't seen for a couple of years. And so each weekend is like, oh, it's so good to see you again. So looking forward to what that means as we continue to journey through toward Easter and hopefully kind of put a lot of things behind us and truly celebrate new life and what that means for us as a congregation, as a people. So
yeah, and I think some of that's kind of a natural progression with something like the pandemic happening. Throughout, there's been these moments where we sort of had to adapt or reprioritize a little bit and make choices. And I think we're entering one of those times now where it seems like for a lot of people, they're recognizing they may have unintentionally disconnected kind of from their faith community, and not just at Trinity, but this is everywhere. I mean, this is almost global, right? But
Right.
People have disconnected from certain activities, and then now, after having done that for a little while, sort of reevaluate and go, am I missing something in my life, and what difference is that making? And I think that that's real for some people, and I encourage that. I mean, not just for the sake of being re-engaged with church, but I think it is important, right, in any time of transition, that you have some time where you're really intentionally reflecting on the choices that you're making, or the choices that you have made, and what they mean for you. I think that's really, really healthy in a lot of ways. And maybe giving some things up too, that used to. I think that's all natural, but it's just interesting from a church perspective how that's going to play out, and what that will mean for faith community. One of the really strange dynamics that we're not strange, but unexpected dynamics we're experiencing in Trinity is new people that we have never seen coming right out of the heels of the pandemic. And some of them because they're with us online, but some of them not. Some of them because I think they have taken a look at their life and gone, man, I think I'm missing something. And they're coming, they're showing up. So anyway, I think that's it's worth mentioning for all of us as we kind of find our ways through this next chapter.
I mean, really, that's what Lent has always been about, is some self-reflection. But I think, yeah, that the timing of what's going on coming out of the pandemic, and for all of us, that, yeah, it's a deeper journey right now. It's one that is about priorities, because for a couple of years we had less, and now it's like we've gotten back onto the hamster wheel and we're running as fast as we can. So, but still, missing some things. And so what is it that we're missing, and what do we want, and what do we really need for our long-term health and well-being? So
yeah. Holistic, yeah. Right? Like our whole self. Yeah.
Right, that's right. Which, goes back to that bingo card. We could fill in those little blanks and make a bingo in terms of our reading of the scripture, or walking out, or just taking time. And so, yeah, it's all of those coming together. So yeah. One thing that you didn't mention is Becky is also putting together, she's partnering with St. John's to do a Ukrainian Easter egg gathering. So there's going to be at St. John's, and Trinity is going to be a part of that. But they've contacted George Reason to come and teach how to make Ukrainian Easter eggs, which is taking an egg and drawing a little design on it with beeswax, which of course Becky has quite a bit of, and then dyeing them. And so it's a real interesting process, but they're going to partner that crafting with also praying for the Ukraine. And so, we didn't mention that earlier, but in terms of reflection and the global perspective of what's going on, I think is weighing all of us down as well this season. And what does that mean for us to be faithful people, and to speak the good news of peace and reconciliation in Jesus? Yeah, it's an interesting time.
It is. And I think for a lot of us, it's really challenging from a faith perspective in some ways, because anytime you see that kind of atrocity and violence and innocent suffering, it really does challenge a lot of our understanding of a loving and gracious God, and where's God in the midst of that. And I think that's where this time of year is a great reminder that God's answer to the brokenness of the world is ultimately to enter into it and to suffer alongside. That's what Jesus does on the cross, suffers alongside. And even Jesus on the cross asked God why. And I think that's really faithful right now. And I know we have some people that too are yeah, it's hard. It's hard right now, and to find ways to lament, to find ways to pray, to find ways to do things that will make a difference for the people that are suffering. Those are all really important things for us as people of faith, because it's hard to watch. I mean, these images and the amount of access we have to the, because of the pervasiveness of smartphones now, it's like we're watching this war unfold in ways that we have not seen a conflict ever before, in such just firsthand witness kind of images. It's really something, and hard. So
It is. It's just heartbreaking. And what you're talking about takes me back to my hospice years, where, somebody would have a diagnosis of 6 months or less, and they would come to me and go, where is God in all of this? That's the question, right? Where is God in all of this? And it sounds a little flip, but what I would usually in conversation go is, it's not about where is God, but who is God? And sometimes we hold this image of God who is almighty and all powerful, and that doesn't let bad things happen to people. And so then when we see such raw suffering, either in our lives, the lives of loved ones, or in the global community, it's who is God. And as you said, it's the God who comes to earth and who walks with us and who suffers on the cross and dies for us, so that we can have hope that God is with us, journeying with us, and has compassion and care for us, even in the midst of untold suffering that people are experiencing. So that too takes us right back to that midweek service in Lent, right? As to journeying to the cross and what led up to that, and why did Jesus go to the cross? Well, because God is with us in our suffering and redeems us.
yeah.
So
Beautifully said.
wow. Well, that's kind of the for coffee with the pastors. So we better bring it back up and talk about something that is exciting that is happening at Trinity. Is we've called another pastor, so it's not going to be just the two of us that much longer. We're going to have three again.
Right. That's right.
So tell us about this call process and who's coming to join us.
Yeah, so we announced a couple of Sundays ago now that Pastor Daniel Hanson has accepted the call to come and serve as Trinity's next pastor of spiritual growth. And Daniel's a guy that I've known for quite a while. I get to work with the First Call Theological Education Committee in our synod, and so I get to kind of walk alongside and meet regularly with some of the First Call pastors. And Daniel's one of those First Call pastors. He's in his 5th or 6th year now, serving at St. Paul in Hampton and St. John in rural Hampton, so not very far away. But is somebody who's really gifted in a lot of ways as a young pastor, really interested in kind of focusing at this point in his ministry. He's been a solo pastor in a 2-point parish. And that was kind of my journey too. I started as a solo pastor in a 2-point parish, where you get to kind of do everything and you learn how to do everything. And I think he's at a point too, where it's kind of exciting to think about being on a staff with other pastors and getting to kind of zero in on faith formation, which is really what his role is going to be. We've changed the titles. We've talked about it on here. We've changed the titles of the associate pastors. It's now pastor of spiritual care, your role, and his is pastor of spiritual growth. But it was the position formerly called youth, family, and education, pastor of youth, family, and education. So not drastically different, but in some ways a little bit different in terms of thinking about the whole spectrum of spiritual growth and faith formation, not just about 0 to 18 or families with kids. So so he's really, I think, gifted for this work and really excited to be a part of it. And he's going to be joining us in mid-May. So I needed a couple of weeks there after Easter. Didn't want Easter in his own parish to be overshadowed by his announcement, because obviously he's it's going to be it's a sad thing for anytime a pastor that's well liked is leaving for another call. That's a hard thing, and so he wants to finish well there in Hampton, and then come our way. So yeah, really excited to bring him on board. It's been since August, I think, that it's been the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had great help, with preaching and some of the teaching and those kind of things with all of these wonderful retired pastors that we have that have stepped in. And then we've invited some other ministry partners to come on, but to come in to preach and to be a part of that. But it'll be nice to be back to three of us again.
It will be. And there are, because I've been around so long, some interesting parallels in your journey and Pastor Daniel's journey, being the son of a Lutheran pastor, having served, similar number of years in a first call solo, and then coming into this position, and I think very, very gifted for it. So, and I'm really excited to see now with the new titles what that looks like, because I've always kind of thought, we all need all of it, right? It's not about ages. We don't get done learning, when we hit 55. Now, sometimes it's where we really want to dig into some learning. So let's think about how do we grow lifelong faith formation and for all ages. And then, so it'll be great to have him joining us. So, yeah. And we'll navigate the name thing once he gets here. So quite honestly, so here's my funny, and he probably is not going to appreciate that I'm going to say this, but so I know Pastor Daniel a little bit, but in 2019 there was a group of us that went to St. John's in Coulter, or rural Iowa, or rural Hampton, to have their able skeever dinner, because I was thinking about doing a Trinity trip for able skeevers as well as lutefisk. And he and his wife greeted us at the door, and we're so cordial and lovely. And so the people that went with that, we call him Pastor Able Skeever, because that's just easy, you know.
No, I don't think he's going to appreciate it. No.
You don't think that's the name that's going to stick?
No, I don't think that's great. No.
Pancakes is not his idea.
It is funny though. I think people it's been really humorous in some ways to me of how anxious some are about, oh my goodness, we're going to have two Dans on staff, and what are we going to do? And, obviously it's not the easiest thing when you have this kind of situation, but I do think that we'll figure that out. Right now Dan has indicated he wants to go by Daniel when he's at Trinity, but I agree with you. I think it's something we'll figure out when he gets here. And
it's just going to take probably a couple more questions when somebody calls on the phone, but
exactly,
half of the time somebody says, that lady pastor, they don't know my name, so
not ideal either. Yeah, right. Yeah, or somebody suggested old Dan and young Dan, and I don't love that either.
I'm liking that. There you go, old Dan. There, you're the old man, Dan. You're from being the youngin to the old man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's something's good for us to give some thought. And it's always good with these things. It's always best to ask people, what do you want to be called? That's always the best approach to take.
Yeah, exactly. And it should be his choice. Absolutely. So did you have that video that we showed at the special congregational meeting?
Yeah.
Because it might be fun for folks to actually see him, and if they didn't see that already, and let him speak for himself, since we're trying to let him, deciding his name already, maybe he should get to decide.
Absolutely. Let me put it up here. All right, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. It sounds like you and your technology. You can't be old Dan if you could do that.
Oh, I don't know. All right, well, here's Daniel Hanson.
Greetings, Trinity Lutheran Church. My name is Pastor Daniel Hanson, and for the past 5.5 years, I have served as the pastor at St. Paul and St. John's Lutheran Churches in Hampton, Iowa. It's an honor today to be considered for the position at Trinity Lutheran of Associate Pastor of Spiritual Growth. I was invited to make just a short video today to share a little bit about myself and my call. I'm married to my wife, Amy Lynn. She works part-time here in Hampton at a local Latino community center. She's also a full-time graduate student at Augsburg University pursuing her Master in Social Work degree. Well, Amy and I actually first got acquainted with Trinity Lutheran Church early on in the pandemic as we watched some of your services on the live stream. We were making our own recorded services here at St. Paul and needed some spiritual renewal in the midst of doing that, and enjoyed tuning into some of your services throughout that time. Over the past several months, I felt a call to discern that God might be calling me to be in a new place, or at least be open to that possibility. In exploring what might be possible, I came and found that Trinity had an open position, and there was a lot that attracted me to your congregation. I was excited about your mission statement as a congregation. You're a servant congregation serving the heart of Mason City. I was also excited about the opportunity to work as part of a staff, to work as part of a team. Hopefully I could bring a lot of great gifts to the wonderful staff that you already have, and we look forward to the opportunity as working as part of a larger ministry team. I'm also really excited about the opportunity to work with you and their families. I'm someone who grew up in the Synod. I grew up in Osage, Iowa, so Mason City has never been too far away, whether it's been 45 minutes to the north from Hampton or 45 minutes to the south from Osage. As both a young person and as someone who's grown up in the Synod, I've been blessed with many faith mentors that have accompanied me on my journey of faith all the way up to ordination and service as a pastor in this ministry. I was a student at Wartburg College and attended campus ministry there. I served at 2 summer Bible camps here in the Synod, Riverside Bible Camp and Iwalu Bible Camp. Between campus ministry, my local congregation, these camping ministry programs, through the process of the Synod, goes through with us as candidates for ministry. I felt so blessed to have so many people accompany me and support me in my journey of faith, and daily to share God's love and grace with me. That's what I feel that my call is as a pastor, to be that person who accompanies others in their journey of faith. Whether that's someone just beginning their journey of faith, whether they be 3 years old or 30 years old or 90 years old. I feel it's God's call for me to be there for them, as so many people have been there for me, to encourage them along the way and to share God's love and grace each step of the way. So I'm excited about the possibility that God might be calling me to serve with you at Trinity, excited that God might be calling me to continue to serve here in this Synod here in Northeastern Iowa. I hold you in my prayers today as you make this call vote. I look forward to see what God has in store. God bless.
Yeah, and that's worth noting that that's the video that we showed at the call meeting. He made it for that day as a way to kind of introduce himself to the congregation, and hopefully people can see why we're so excited to have him joining our team. Dan's going to bring a lot of gifts to, like you said already, our great staff, and I think it's always exciting to have a new pastor join the team and become part of this great ministry that we get to share. So really excited that he said yes and that he's coming. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, and I think he did a beautiful job of talking about what he's interested in and presenting himself there, and yeah, just the idea of the excitement of what God is going to do as he joins us and where we're going together in that, and also the fact that he is holding us in prayer, and I think that's the encouragement for for us now, is that we hold him and Amy in prayer as they make this transition and what that means for them. So it is an exciting time to see what God is gonna be up to in doing all of this. So yeah.
Absolutely. Really only one beef with him, and that is that he's a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan. So, for me, that was tough to, try to figure out how we're going to make that work. But no, I think we're going to have a lot of fun that way too. His love of baseball and the fact that I'm a Cubs fan, that there's a natural rivalry there. It'll be kind of fun to joke around about.
Yeah, well, and as the staff, I think that's part of the beauty of us as a staff, is that we have fun with each other, right? And and can joke around about some of those things that are just kind of pokey for us, and that's part of what binds us together, I think, is just as people. So and working together. But
yeah.
Well, that's about all I have for Coffee with the Pastors. Is there anything else that I'm missing, or should we just say tune in for another episode in April?
That's about it for today.
Yeah, well, it'll be after Easter. So blessed Lent, happy Easter, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody in April.
That's right. All right. Take care.
Take care. Thanks, everybody.